Okay, let's try this again. All right, I'm going to send this to Blake again. Poor Blake, he was standing at the door and y'all were all crowding him. He probably got scared. Okay. You know how nerve-wracking this is? You know how sweaty I am under this jacket? Just waiting to see if I can figure out the technology to let... Okay, stop sending requests to be in this live video if you're not Blake Shelton. It crowds the door, and I'm not letting you in. This is so wacky, right? That we can just do this, and that Blake's on the farm. And thanks, Walker. I do feel a little sweaty, though. I'm not gonna lie, a little sweaty under here. That's why I got this on. I brought my guitar for no reason other than I just wanted you to see that. Oh, I got him this time. Here he comes. It's happening. I feel like I caught a fish or something. Like I just kept throwing it out there. And now it actually says waiting for Blake Shelton. I feel like we should play something like Old Red. There it is.
Thank you.
Oh my God. So sorry that took so long. I need to learn how to run Instagram before they give me a job like
Shane,
this.
you suck worse at this than I do.
It's terrible. I'm so sweaty because everybody was just like,
Hey.
Where's Blake? Where's Blake? Where's Blake? And everybody else was trying to get in the room at the same time. And I'm like, let the man through.
It was almost worth it to see you struggle through that.
And to try to read and see if you were coming up and try to maintain my, like, somewhat, like, I knew what was going on. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm out here in Oklahoma, and I've been here since I need to look and see exactly when it is, like May the, I don't know, 12th or 13th.
Well, I hope it wasn't May the 12th last year.
Well, I have been, look at my hat. I have been drinking today.
Hey.
But March the 12th. Whenever I canceled the tour date that we were doing in Omaha, we canceled it about noon or 1 o'clock or something. And Gwen and I came straight to the ranch and got the rest of the family here. And we've been on lockdown ever since. And now we're proceeding to burn things that we can find around the house just to clean it up. So
I love it's like that's what it's come to. We're just burning shit.
That's right. That's right.
So you made me think of something when you were talking about the shows being canceled and stuff like that. What has that been like to be out there knowing you had all this stuff in motion and not knowing when you're going to get to go back? Like, have you just let it go? Or
you know, honestly, guys like you and me, we're going to be okay. We got it easy, you know. So to cancel a tour it's expensive. I mean, there's no way around it, but I can absorb that. And I just hated it for people who had not bought tickets to the show because, you know, they'll get refunded or whatever they need for that. But at the same time, they probably had bought plane tickets or they had hotel rooms booked. They had that, you know, and it's one of those things that you just, the list goes on, things that you can't imagine that, you know, hit people as far as the tour goes, you know, but, you know, it's, that's the least of our work. You know, at some point, I missed it from a selfish standpoint, but, you know, we get to do things like this. This is, you know, you and I, as long as we've known each other, we haven't had a lot of like conversations, you know.
I figured that was probably on purpose on your end.
Every time you see me coming, you go the other direction.
I just get scared, mostly because I get so enamored with Gwen.
I do too.
I see that. We all see that.
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to say, separate from what we're here talking about, the voice, just, you know, I was just telling somebody, and a lot of people don't know this, but when songwriters write a song and you get it in the hands of someone like Blake and Gwen, you don't always know that just because they put it out and just because it goes to the radio, that doesn't mean that they're out there waving the flag. Man, I have never had a song that has been so pushed and so believed in by the artist as Nobody But You. Everything you guys have done, I just want to tell you thank you from Ross and Josh and I. It really, really means the world to songwriters when the artist is like out there seriously waving the flag for it, man. I just appreciate it so much.
I say the same thing to you, Shane. I mean, that song, Gwen and I feel like it was literally written for us, which I'm sure each one of you writers on the song wrote it about your own personal experiences, and that's what makes that song so great. That's what makes for a great song, is when you can take it and kind of apply it to your life, and it fits so perfectly. I tell Gwen all the time, my favorite part of the song is when you love someone, they say you set them free, but that ain't gonna work for me, because that's always been such a standard, understood way of thinking. When you love something, let it go. But I've never really thought about, I'm sorry if it's selfish, but I can't.
I mean, but really, if you really love someone that much, who the hell wants to do that?
I know.
I mean,
and we both love that part of the song, so much. It just hit home with us, and now to see it, making its run towards the top, which, by the way, congratulations on that. Gwen and I were just in here toasting a minute ago that I think it's number three this week at Country Radio.
It's gotten there very fast.
I know, it's so crazy, and so we're hoping it goes all the way to the top, because for everybody involved, but for me personally, to know that Gwen Stefani is a part of a #1 country song.
That's badass.
I mean, what is this world?
I know.
What is this world?
Look what you did. Well, speaking of like bringing people together in music, let's talk a little bit about The Voice. So now you got knockouts. Is that right?
And the knockouts are happening, I think, tonight. And if that is what's happening tonight, then that means James Taylor, who is our
the mega mentor.
The mega mentor. That's what it's called. I know that what.
I was going to say, what the hell was that like?
I know, it was crazy. I'm sure you've met. He reminds me so much of Bobby Braddock, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I totally see that. I don't know James Taylor, but I know Bobby, and I can see that.
Their personalities are a lot alike, and they're just really thoughtful people and deep thinkers. And I don't know. I felt comfortable with James because he reminded me so much of Bobby. So, but aside from that, the artist, the talent, I had some of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make on this show this season. So, and that just
as far as what, like trying to choose who you were going to have. And
yes, I mean, look, when you get to, it's tough enough in the battles because you beg these people to be on your team. And then the first thing you do, the very next step is you kick half of them back off of your team,
After you've begged them to be on there.
I know. It's worst. And then the next thing you do is you do it again. You half it down again. And so, I don't know, this season I just felt a stronger connection to all of them.
Yeah.
A more personal connection to all of them. And that's the worst thing you can do. I did that the first few seasons, and it was just hard for me to not just feel that personal connection. And it's really impossible not to anyway, but you still have to, at the end of the day, make the best decision you can based on people's singing and their performances. And you kind of have to set the personal side of it, aside. And
I relate to that, even just doing the second season of this show, because I get so invested, and I don't have people all along. We have different ones every week, but when you sit in a writing room with someone and you take someone's song and you break it apart and you change it and then you show it to the artist, and if it doesn't work out for them, I feel so responsible. And I had to approach this season a little different, sort of like what you just said. I had to go into it going, look, this is just one part of their journey. Right. I was sort of putting it all on this, because, I was actually on a show called Star Search back in the early 90s when I was a teenager.
Were you on with Sinbad or Sawyer Brown?
Hey, You know that show. I was on a couple years later than them, but I thought when I was on there and I lost, and I was like 15, and I remember thinking that was it. Like, this is everything I've hoped for. I finally got out of Mineral Wells, Texas, and they're going to believe in me. And I had to go back and tell everybody I lost. And, you know, that's such a little part of my story. And that's what I try with these songwriters. It's like, just because you're standing here in front of Usher or Lady Antebellum or whoever, it doesn't mean that this is the one thing. It's never one thing.
Right.
And I think that's sort of what you're talking about. You feel like it's up to you.
Right. Well, because, you know, I think the difference in being told no at a publishing company or a record label versus being told no on national television, I mean, that's a harder pill to swallow in front of a lot of people.
That's true.
And I'm always try to be sensitive of that. And but at the same time, no is no, and there's never a good way to deliver that. You know, when you know that that's their dream that you're saying no to in that moment, though. You know.
Yeah.
And even though it is on national television, it's still just that one moment, which is the point that you're making. But again, it's on national television. It just makes it that much harder to do. By the way, hey, you talking about Star Search? So when I gotta ask, were you on Veritas Records or on Curb Records? Which one was it?
I was on Curb. I was on Curb proper.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you worked with Tracy Gershon.
No, but I know Tracy now, but I didn't work with her then.
Yeah.
But no, I was on Curb, and then of course Curb became 100 other things. I think I moved labels like 4 times while I was there. And I'm still signed to Curb Blake. I mean, a lot of people don't know that.
We're all signed to Curb somehow, I think.
I think so.
We're never getting off.
Oh, seriously. So what's it been like working with that hack Nick Jonas? I mean, he was on Songland last year, so I got to see just how big of a jerk he was.
I got to tell you, man, he may be the nicest person that I've ever worked with on The Voice, but at the same time, the suckiest piece of crap coach.
He's just terrible.
In the history of The Voice, and I hope he's watching this right
the
now.
Suckiest.
Because he just sucks.
Oh my God.
At coaching that I don't know. And I hope he's watching this. I hope fans are YouTubing this, and
you're definitely gonna get it.
Because I want him to hear me say that he sucks.
Yeah.
Coaching on The Voice.
Well, I'll make sure that
he keep talking about The Voice. What about Songland? So second season's coming up, right?
Tonight, yeah.
Tonight.
We're riding y'all's coattails, baby, right to some big ratings.
All right.
Yeah, so right after The Voice tonight, which is really honestly exciting as hell for us, because that's first of all, we're such a good match for you guys, because y'all, I've always said, like, The Voice is an unknown singer singing a really famous song. Mm-hmm. And now we have a really famous singer singing an unknown song.
Yeah.
And
who's
so
tonight? Do you reveal that, or who is
Wait, what'd you say?
Who's the artist?
Lady Antebellum.
Tonight.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And do they get a good one? They have a serious, like, first of all the songs tonight are awesome. Of course, I'm biased, but I mean, they really have found, it's amazing how many songwriters are out there that have not had a shot. It blows. I'm sure you feel that way about the singers that you see. You're just like, how can there be this many talented people? And how the hell are we the ones on this side of things?
You know, it's funny because the way, not to get off topic, but the way my career started, I was obviously an unknown artist, and I was signed to Giant Records, and my first hit was a song written by 2 basically unknown songwriters, Austin. Yeah. Who's Kirsty Manna. It was her very first cut she ever had.
I didn't realize that you were on Giant. I don't remember that.
I know. I started out on Giant, and they closed literally the week the single came out. They closed, and Warner Brothers took on the project. So, as far as publicly, I've always been on Warner, but I was signed to Giant for 3 or 4 years before they ever released a song. But anyway, to your point, these songwriters incredible talent. They just had never had that shot. They never had the in to get a song listened to, you know,
Yeah.
and it just, so that's what's great about your show is, you know, so many talented people just don't know how
Where to go.
where to go, how to approach it. How do you, what is the music industry? How do I get on the radio, you know? And it really, there really isn't a set way. And so when you find out there is an avenue like Songland, it's just such a great opportunity for people to get their big break, you know?
I just like people seeing, I mean, you know, when I moved to Nashville, I was 19 and I wrote songs, but I didn't know that you could do that for a living. I thought, this was a long time ago when there wasn't as much attention on songwriters, but I just assumed that George Strait wrote all his songs, and that was the reason that he was the singer, and he's told those stories. And I always use George as a great example. You're a great example. I mean, you're a great songwriter, but you mostly record outside songs.
Yeah.
And the whole point is finding stuff that seems like it's coming from you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for years, people just didn't know that people were actually able to do this for a living. And I didn't know. And shit, I didn't make a living for another 15 years at it after I got to Nashville. But that, I love that Songland. I mean, even people in my family will say to me, I never knew this is what you did. Like, I didn't know what writing songs means. Like, what? You're just coming up with songs and Blake Shelton just records them? I'm like, yeah, it's just that easy.
Right. Of course. Yeah, you know, when I first moved to Nashville, I signed with, not first, but a few years later, I signed with Sony Tree Publishing. I don't even know what they call it now, but as a staff writer, and I just never really enjoyed writing songs as much as I loved. I wanted to be a country singer, you know.
Right.
And so when I would write a song, it was a big deal to me, but I never felt like I was one of those guys like you that could just, you know, look at a campfire and pull something out of it and write a song about it. You know, I just wanted to be one of those guys I heard on the radio, you know, and so luckily, between Bobby helping out and then, you know, 7 years or whatever worth of songwriting that I did up to that point that I made my first album, we were able to put together a decent first album that got my foot in the door, you know, and man, I got to tell you, after that, it was, I tried to backed off of songwriting as much as I could. You know, I've written over the years and I've enjoyed it when I've done it, but I way get into singing and performing more than I do the writing part of it. That's why I'm so thankful for guys like you that get in there and write something like nobody but you. I mean, look, I'm way into my career right now. I think next year will be 20 years I've been making records, and who would have ever thought that you know, I would still be having songs that break through like nobody but you, and it's because of what you do, and you've given me a shot with that great song. You know, it's
well, you're welcome.
As big of a hit as I've ever had. You know,
damn,
so thank
you. You're supposed to be kind of a shit when we talk. We're supposed to be dogging each other.
Well, I mean, now that I've said that, you can kiss my ass. But I just wanted to say that.
Well, everybody keeps reminding me on here down below that the voice starts in like 4 minutes. So, I mean, you got to change clothes and stuff, don't you?
Oh my God, I got to take a shower real quick and get out there.
Hey, I don't know how close Gwen is, but you make sure and tell her that we love her and that this is really awesome. And I'm so excited that people are going to see y'all tonight, and then hopefully keep those TVs tuned into Songland.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything you do, man. And I sent you a new song for real.
All right. Good.
Okay.
See you, buddy.
Talk soon.
Everybody. Thank you. Watch Songland. Watch it.
See you later.